Turning to one of our top stories now, Labor is leading as the favourite among voters to win the next election. That's according to the latest round of news poll anyway. And joining us live now is the Liberal MP, Tim Wilson. Tim, good to see you. So, I mean, a few weeks ago, the Prime Minister said that he was, or you are, the underdogs. Do you agree with him?
Well, every election is tough, Pete, and every election we've got to fight and fight hard because we're fighting for the Australian people. And, of course, there are a lot of big vested interests, big unions, big corporates who all want to get their slice of Australian democracy and trying to buy their way through it. And we're going to back Australian people every step of the way, and they're going to back us. I'm very confident of that. OK, well, a couple of policies that have been announced in recent days from the opposition anyway. You've got the big announcement on TAFE yesterday. You've got their much more ambitious climate targets at 43% that were set out on Friday. Are you worried at all about how voters may respond to those as it's revealed that more people want more action on climate? Well, we know that people want action on climate change. That's why the Morrison government was the first government in Australian history to commit to carbon neutrality by 2050. But it didn't just make the statement, it also backed it up with a clear, comprehensive, economy-wide plan and the measures to make sure it happens, and the modelling to show that it was viable and how we were going to do it. Labor's done none of that. They've come up with a plan or a target for 2030, and of course it's heavily backed on the coalition's approach, but they haven't actually outlined how they're going to get to their net zero position by 2050.
Well, they're supported by the BCA, so that's quite significant.
Well, again, it comes down to BCA had their own modelling, which wasn't the same as what Labor's put forward. So we actually want to see the hard evidence from Labor and how they're going to get there, particularly towards 2050. We've done the hard yards, Peter. We've made sure that we have committed to an economy-wide approach to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. We've committed to a target of carbon neutrality, and we've got modelling to show how we're going to get there. Labor doesn't.
Just on the economy, figures show it is continuing to strengthen. The OECD warning, though, that the deteriorating trade relationship with China continues to pose a risk to revival. Do you see it that way?
No, I don't. But I think what we need to be clear about is whose side we're on. And we're on the side of the people of Australia, their economic growth, their opportunity to succeed, and, of course, their sovereignty, the capacity for the Australian government and the people of Australia to decide their own destiny. And if it's a choice between being a richer nation or being a sovereign nation, we're going to go with being a sovereign one, because in the end, that's the basis in which Australians get to live their lives as they see fit, and that's the basis in which we make our decisions. As I said right from the start, we back Australia.
They could still hurt us, though. Do you accept that?
Well, there are always tensions or policy decisions that need to be made that have trade-offs. That's the price of being in government. You can always throw stones from the cheap seats and the sidelines. When you're in government, you've got to make weighty decisions about the future of Australia. And that's why the Morrison government has not shirked for 1 second about where its priorities lie and who we're backing, and we know exactly whose side we are on.
With respect, what are you doing in Sydney, Tim?
I've got a whole bunch of meetings today going and looking at solar installations and the projects that our government has been investing in to get Australia towards carbon neutrality by 2050. So that's what I'm doing here, and because we're getting on with the job. It's easy to talk, as Labor does. We're focused on action.
Are you here to help woo Gladys Berejiklian?
Look, my view on Gladys Berejiklian running for Warringah is completely on the record. It is my idea of a Christmas miracle. She is even the angel on the top of the Christmas tree in the Goldstein electorate office. I mean, I'm of Armenian background, she's of Armenian background, and so it would be a wonderful Christmas present, not just for me, not just for the Warringah community, but for the nation.
Are you getting closer to getting her on side?
Well, I haven't been involved in those. I haven't been involved in those conversations.
You hear things, though.
But I can assure you that she knows my views resolutely.
Okay, is it going to happen? I think it's going to happen, isn't it?
It's a decision for Gladys, but I can assure Gladys, if she's watching, that the whole nation wants her to run. She'd be fantastic. She'd be a great contributor in the federal parliament, and of course, she'd be in a situation where she'd not just win, but she'd be able to make a contribution to the whole nation. Not
she'd be a target, though.
She has already.
She'd be a target, though, given the events of ICAC.
Well, but there'll be lots of people who throw stones from the cheap seats. They're throwing them at me at the moment. My response, bring it on. Let's have a contest, because in this fight, there's a choice between who you want to elect, who based on whether they're going to stand up for the best interests of Australians and whether they back Australia. And Gladys backs Australia, I back Australia, Scott Morrison backs Australia, and we're very proud to do so.
OK, Tim Wilson, we're out of time. Appreciate your time as always, though. Enjoy your time here. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Pete.